I'm Teresa Perleberg, and I am owner of Bear Creek Felting, where I design needle felting kits for beginners, and I also have the Bear Creek Needle Felting Academy.
And I'm Chris Armbrust, and I own Dakota Fiber Mill, in which I process wool and alpaca and other fibers into roving and yarn for folks from all over the nation. And together, we're Shepherd Industries.
We want to share with you a little bit of what we've been working on. We've been really busy doing some traveling and doing some work at the school, so we haven't been working on any of our felting or yarn projects, but we hope to have some for you next time. The first show that we went to was the Maryland Sheep and Wool Festival. That was a couple weeks ago, and that was the first time either one of us had ever been there, and we were very surprised at the amount of people that were there and the amount of booths and
vendors.
It took us the 2 full days to get through everything, and I don't think we saw everything.
No, I don't think we did.
There was to see, and we would definitely recommend it to anyone, and we sure would love to go back someday. Mm-hmm. And we lined up several teachers to come to our school and teach different amazing things that we found there, and they were very willing to come, and so we can't wait to put retreats together at the Gnome Schoolhouse and have you come and stay when it's all finished.
Yes. Yeah, the folks that we visited and told about what we were going to have here are all excited, super excited. And as they said, there's nothing like that in the world. I mean, a lot of folks have been to retreats and so on and so forth, but they've been at lodges or resorts that people rent for the weekend. But we are actually going to be offering an all-inclusive fiber resort that's going to have all the ingredients, a fiber mill on site, and everything there for all fiber,
all the equipment that you need, and along with the teachers.
Yes,
and then you also get to spend time with the animals that provide the fiber.
Yes, exactly.
As well as the good food and a nice, comfy place to stay.
Yes.
So we're really looking forward to that. The next weekend we went to the Shepherd's Harvest Festival in
Minneapolis, Lake
Elmo, Minnesota, and we were both vendors there. So, and that was a fun time as well. Yep. Had a really good show.
Yeah, very much so.
And right now we're in the middle of our Kickstarter campaign where we're trying to get our Gnome Schoolhouse a good kickstart and getting us going and getting it renovated and getting our preliminary costs taken care of.
Yes. We're going to answer some questions that have come up about the Kickstarter. Folks have asked us why we're doing a Kickstarter for a for-profit business. And Kickstarter is different than GoFundMe. A lot of folks have heard of GoFundMe, but Kickstarter is specifically for businesses. To give them a kickstart, because all businesses have preliminary costs to get them up and running. And a project like ours has even more preliminary costs with all the architects and engineers that we need. And there has been folks that have wanted to come alongside with us and help us out financially. So Kickstarter is the safest way for both sides for folks to do that. And it's all or nothing. As businesses, it doesn't, if you need $40,000 and you get $3,000, it's great that folks want to help that much, but the need is $40,000. That's our need. Right now we're at about $18,000, so we're hoping in the next week and a half or so that we'll meet our goal to be able to cover these preliminary costs. Otherwise, it's truly going to set us back quite a bit.
And any amount helps us out. The more people giving smaller amounts, it works wonders. So if you can, consider giving.
Oh, and then the other question that we had a lot is folks questioning our businesses, which surprised us. They didn't think that we had true businesses, that we were just doing crafts and just going around doing craft shows, so to speak. But that's not the case. Both of us have businesses that have been blessed very much so and are successful in their own rights, and now that we're combining the businesses, it's all the more
And we think it'll bring a lot to this community. We plan on bringing people from all over the country to come and stay at our retreat. So we believe it will help this rural small town and this county and the state as well. So any questions about that, please ask them in the comment section below,
Yes,
and we'll certainly try to answer them. If you wanted to donate to our Kickstarter, you can go to Kickstarter and look up Saving the Gnome Schoolhouse, and you will find us there. And I'll also have a link for it in the comments or in the right below this video.
And last week, or not last week, the last time, WoolTube 2, we had some questions, and we'd like to address those now. And one of them was how we dye our wool, whether it's our yarn or the roving for Teresa's kits. And we do that any number of ways, but for Teresa's kits, the way that we've been doing the wool dyeing now is we dye prior to carding it. I dye actually the wool in the raw form before we scour out the lanolin, and then wash it after that. Use the Echo Scour soap to scour it out after that, and then card it after it's dry, and it's been working beautifully. The colors are even, and yeah, that's been working great. You also can, of course, dye the white roving in roving form. You just got to be a little careful to keep it together in it.
That is what I was doing prior to Chris dyeing the wool for me. She would wash and card my wool for me, and I would get it back, and then I would dye it on a pot on my stove. And I mean, then it was just a little harder to get it nice and smooth when you would take it out of, just put it in the water and dye it, and when after it's dry, it's kind of all messed up, where it's a better process the way she's doing it now. We would draft it, which would be when we were done, by pulling it, and that would make it nice and fluffy and smooth again, but that was just adding an extra step. So we do plan on putting a video together on dyeing, so please stay tuned to this channel so you can learn how we do that as well.
Yeah. Yep. And then as far as yarn goes, we can dye the wool or the alpaca, whatever the fiber is, prior, and then card it and spin it from there. Or we can take the skein of yarn and we can pot dye it. We can do it in submersion in a dye bath and do it that way, or we can hand paint it and you can use natural dyes. You can use food coloring. You can use RIT. All sorts of things, and it's really fun to dye and to experiment with different types of dyeing and different types of techniques, which we'll touch on some of them in this channel, which is fun. I love to dye.
Yes. Yeah, we can't wait to share that with you. And we do plan on having classes on this at our schoolhouse when it's all done as well. So we're looking forward to that.
Absolutely, yeah. And another question we had was the difference between the loom and a spinning wheel. And a loom, you want to touch on that?
A loom is more you're weaving. So you're weaving the rugs, or I guess weaving is like anything, even this
is woven. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's weaving, just weaving in and out, where a spinning wheel is actually making the thread or the yarn. So it's taking the fibers and it's taking the fibers and turning it into yarn or thread by spinning it. And then after it's spun, then you can use it for weaving together.
I had a question at the mill this week where can you blend alpaca fiber with wool? And the question was, or my answer was, absolutely, and I myself do it all the time. You can take, it doesn't even have to be a super soft alpaca, and blend it with a nice wool like a Romney, where it's not super fine, but yet nice wool, and it blends beautifully, and it makes a nice, super nice yarn that has some memory in it, so that when you knit like a sweater with it, alpaca likes to grow if it doesn't have a little bit of wool in it or something to give it some memory. Especially Surrey alpaca is real notorious for that. But yeah, so absolutely, I I love folks to blend fibers, and I do it at no extra charge in the mill. And as far as the length of the fibers, if you have a Romney that's 4 or 5 inches and the alpaca that's 3 inches, and yes, it blends beautifully together.
And if you have any more questions like that, Chris would be more than happy to answer them, and you can ask in the comment section below, and we'll get back to you in the next Wool Tube, which we're trying to do weekly.
Yes.
And if you're wondering where we're at, today we're not in our normal spot. We're in Nome, North Dakota, where our school that we're renovating is, and we're in an old grocery store that is now used as a little coffee shop area for people when they want to come and meet and have coffee. So we were at the school today meeting a cameraman,
WDAY.
meeting WDAY
Yep.
here as they're doing a story on us for our Kickstarter. So that's where we're at. One of the questions that I get asked a lot for needle felting is what does it matter what kind of wool you use? And it definitely does matter. All wool doesn't felt the same. There's some that doesn't really felt at all if it's like more of a smooth fiber. There's some that when felted is more spongy when it's done. There is some that is more solid, some that's more hairy when it's done. And so it's really important to know what wool you're using so that you can figure out which one is the best for you. If you went to a store and you bought wool that didn't have any label on it and you didn't know what kind of wool it was, you wouldn't know, like if you did like it, what to buy next time. So it's important to buy wool that has a label on it, what kind of sheep it's from, and this will really help you in your needle felting to keep track of which fiber works best for you. If you wanted a more fuzzier look, or if you wanted a more solid, or if you wanted more squishy, soft, it matters what kind of wool you use. And I have a blog series on my blog at Bear Creek Felting that's called Felting Through the Sheep Breeds, and I felted with many different types of breeds of sheep, and I give my opinion in there on how well it felts, and you can check that out at bearcreekfelting.com under Needle Felting Through the Sheep Breeds. If you'd like to be able to ask more personal questions or in-depth questions about needle felting, I do answer and help people in my Bear Creek Needle Felting Academy, and you can join that on my website at Bear Creek Felting, and you have access to a full library of video courses from beginner to advanced on how to make needle felted animals. And I also provide kits if you need them, otherwise you can source your own materials. And you can ask me questions, you can share pictures with me, and I will try and help you with your project as you're working on it. So that's the Bear Creek Needle Felting Academy at bearcreekfelting.com. If you'd like to learn more about the Nome Schoolhouse, you can go to gnomeschoolhouse.com, and we're also on Facebook, and I share pictures every day of our project, and that's Nome Schoolhouse on Facebook, and we're also on Instagram as well. And to get updated on what we are up to in the school and with our businesses, please consider subscribing to our channel, and you will be updated when we put on a new video. Thanks for watching.
Thanks. Bye.